down there in the Coastal Bend area, Corpus Christi, Texas, we are happy to be joined on the phone by the head coach of the Corpus Christi Flour Bluff Hornets. It is Coach Chris Steinbruck. Coach, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely. How are things in beautiful Corpus Christi? How's the offseason treating you?
I'll tell you what, we just got our $7 million facility done, and we moved in the week before spring break, so things could not be better for us in Flour Bluff.
Still got that kind of new car smell around there?
It does, and we're hoping we keep it for a while, but you never know how long that's going to last.
Yeah, I'll tell you, knowing being in enough football locker rooms, I can tell you that smell's probably not going to stick around for too long.
We hope so.
You're entering your third year there at Flour Bluff, and the first year couldn't have gone a whole lot better. You guys were just gangbusters the entire all year long. You end up going 12-1 in your first year, and then this past year you kind of fall back to the pack. You go 6-4. How do you handle that kind of adversity, both personally and with your program?
Well, that group, the 14 group, was a special group that we knew coming up that was the group, and we really thought we should have been there with last year's group. We turned the ball over 9 times and only forced 1 turnover in the games that we lost in district play. So we know where the mistakes were made, and we know where we got to get better. And it's a program that made the playoffs for 12 straight years, and I can tell you that our kids and our coaches are reminded every day that we didn't make the playoffs, and we've got so much to prove, and we're ready to do that. We feel like our kids are working hard to make sure we put this program back where it belongs and in the playoffs.
One of the guys that is off to the next level, your quarterback, Cody Brewer, just a monster of a physical specimen. I've always been struck by his size at 6'6", 225. He's off to Sam Houston State. What can you tell Bearcats fans about the kind of quarterback they're getting in Cody?
There's not a better kid, and this kid is to have your best player, and he's a stud on the basketball court as well during timeouts. When he's on the bench helping other kids and bringing water to the other teammates. I mean, he's just a kid that is unselfish. He's about the team, and I think that Sam Houston got a steal in a quarterback in Cody Brewer, and he's gonna take them to the national championship.
He certainly's got the skins on the wall. I know he was really dazzling down there at Flour Bluff. So how do you go about replacing a guy like that, a guy who really had such a good feel for your offense?
Well, we're fortunate to get a kid that moved into our district last year from Coronado, California, and he was a quarterback as a sophomore at Coronado High School in San Diego, and he moved in last year as a junior, and he played slot receiver for us. His name is Jagger Bull. He's a 6'4", about 215-pound quarterback, and I think he's going to be every bit as good as Cody, and his leadership abilities are similar, and his work ethic, and we're really, really excited about Jagger, and we don't want to skip a beat.
Yeah, Jagger Bull, 6'4", 210. How do you keep stumbling upon these giant quarterbacks?
Well, in this case, his dad's the admiral at our Navy base, and we are fortunate the Navy Admiral Bull took over at our naval base here in Flour Bluff, and his son just happened to be one heck of a football player, so we're fortunate.
I tell you, I would not disobey a lot of orders from Admiral Bull. I will, just based on name alone. We're talking with Chris Steinbruck, the head coach of the Corpus Christi Flour Bluff Hornets here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. Coach, one of the breakout stars of your squad last year, just as a sophomore, was the wide receiver Ransom Johnson. 500 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns, speedy as all get out. What can you tell us about what he brings to the table and what we can expect from him in 2016?
Ransom had a breakout season as a sophomore. There's like 5 seconds left in the half against Cal Allen. He took a ball about 70 yards, made a couple guys miss, and scored right before the half. And that was a huge win for us at home, beating Cal Allen, keeping our playoff hopes alive. And he stepped up huge in that game, and we expect him to continue to develop at receiver and really look at him, too, to play corner for us. He's kind of like an Aaron Dilworth type who played both sides of the ball in 14, where he can go cover a team's best receiver and score touchdowns and make plays and get first downs for us at receiver as well.
I want to ask you also about your defense. You know, the defense last year, I think we could categorize as good, maybe not great. What's it going to take to kind of take that next step defensively and turn this defense back into a real powerhouse?
We were really young on defense, but as the year went on, we played really good the last 3 games of the year. We held Cal Allen to 14 points. They held Toloso Midway to nothing. We shut them out, and then we held Alice to 14 in the last game. So we played great defense as the year went on. We got better each week because we were young, and as those guys got more confidence and experience, they got better, and we returned most of our defense. So we're excited about where we're going to be defensively, and we're going to get after it this spring and improve in the areas we need to improve on and put this program back where it belongs.
The coaches always talk about being strong up the middle defensively, and it seems like you've got not just great players up the middle like your linebacker Brock Elam or your defensive tackle Tyler O'Brien, but having those seniors there, I imagine, for you is comforting to know that you're going to have that kind of leadership on the field.
Absolutely. No doubt. And our free safety, Henry Hoffman, having a year under his belt now, the free safety position is extremely difficult. He's got to be the quarterback of our defense. And as a sophomore, it's tough, you know. So he's got that experience now as a junior. And like you said, that senior leadership. And these guys feel they have the responsibility for the Hornets that came before them to represent our school the right way. And we don't feel like we did that last year. And telling you, man, it really humbled us and put that sense of urgency back in our program where I think we had guys that felt like we could just show up just because we were Flour Bluff and we were going to win, and that didn't happen. And sometimes you need that as a program, and we're going to see how our coaches and our kids respond, and I think you're going to see we're going to respond the right way.
One of the things that's always struck me about your program, Coach, is that it always seems like you have good numbers. You know, for a 5A program, it seems like you always have a good amount of kids coming out competing. What does that add to the team, that competition, knowing that you're not going to just show up and start?
It helps the overall concept of what we're trying to do with our team because – you know, at a smaller school where you don't have the numbers, maybe you got to let some things slide or keep kids in the program maybe that aren't buying in, and you don't have to do that here at Flour Bluff. So having those numbers and those guys seeing all these guys behind them that are just chomping at the bit trying to have their opportunity, it makes those guys in front of them push that much harder. So having the numbers is great, and being in an 11-team district now, that numbers, I think, is going to help us where we'll be, you know, have the numbers towards the end with grades and injuries and everything. Hopefully that's going to help us down the road in this district. You mentioned
District 35A. The UIL realignment comes out. You guys are dropped into District 35A, and then the appeals process goes through and overcome a couple more squads. Now you're in an 11-team district, 2 zones. How do you make heads or tails of your new district situation?
Well, it's exciting. You hadn't had one in over 30 years with UIL, so it's exciting. We're learning a lot about how to do it with each sport. And football, we decided to zone it. There's a North and a South division, and allowed us to keep some big-time preseason games that we wanted to keep. We're playing Vista Ridge right out of the game. That's going to be a heck of a game for us. And then we're playing Victoria East, who was in our district the last 2 years, week 2. So it allowed us, by splitting and zoning, it allowed us to keep our preseason game, pre-district games. And then, you know, it's just a good way to do it. And we feel like we're excited about it.
We're talking with Chris Steinbruck, the head coach of the Corpus Christi Flour Bluff Hornets here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. And Coach, speaking of that district, it seems like the depth in the coaching in this district is as insane as it gets. Obviously, they're at the top, number 1 with the bullet. I don't think you disagree. Coach Danaher over there at Cal Allen, who could become the winningest coach in Texas high school football history. Not only then you bring in Rick Rhodes taking over at Gregory Portland. For you, being part of this group of coaches, how do you feel about that, about being part of this kind of really impressive roster of coaches in District 35A?
It's exciting to be a part of it. Coach Danaher was over here yesterday for a baseball game, and we were visiting, and you learn a lot from guys that have been in the profession for that long, and really, respect them for what they've done, and look forward to the opportunity of competing against them on the field and coaching our teams against each other. And it's just a great deal, and they're going to make us better coaches. Is what they're going to do. We're all going to get better in this district, and that's what at the end, that's what we want. We want Coastal Bend football to be on the map and be in the conversation when you talk about guys competing for the state championship. And that hadn't been the case in years past, maybe with the exception of Cal Allen. So that's what we're striving for. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And having a coach like Coach Rhodes coming in who's done it, he's won state championships, and it's going to be great to get that film and watch and see what he's doing in off season and learning and get better as a coach.
He is Chris Steinbruck. He is the head coach of the Corpus Christi Flour Bluff Hornets. Follow him on Twitter at Chris Steinbruck. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the new facility. Enjoy the offseason, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Appreciate you guys and what y'all do for high school football.